What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I have Lost in the Pond video for you. 6 very confusing things about the American Midwest, which I am a Midwest American, so maybe I'll be able to help you guys with the confusion, although he has lived in America for a long time. He's still from Britain, so maybe having somebody that's lived as a Midwest American all their life, maybe I'll be able to help better understand what is so confusing about it. Hopefully we're not a bunch of like weirdos or whatever, but yeah, let's check it out. Thanks for watching. I always enjoy his videos, so I hope you guys do too. Let's check it out.
Hello, I've lived in the American Midwest now for 17 years and I've had a great time living here. It's just that on occasion it's very confusing. And today, in the aftermath of the most recent Chicago snowstorm, I feel like it's my duty to let you in on some of the reasons as to why. So if you're American and you like hearing some foreigner talk about your country and you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, do that now.
Yes, don't forget.
In the meantime, here are 6 things about the Midwest that confuse me. First of all, when I found out that I was moving to the Midwest, I thought, that's great. I've heard good things about the American West. Mountains, gunslingers, the Golden Gate Bridge. And then I moved here and realized, oh, this isn't really the West, is it? Certainly not the middle of the West. It's not really the east of the West, if there's such a thing. In fact, when you look at it on a map.
Yes. So I was just getting ready to tell you guys, like, maybe not all of them. I couldn't remember all of them, but I did remember like Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois. I'm kind of in the core of it. I live here.
It's more like the west of the east, which I've since learned is confusing to a lot of Americans. So imagine what it's like for a foreigner coming here. And you know, there'll be these historians who will ruin this segment by saying, ooh, but that dates back to a time when the eastern United States was the entire country. So everything west of that was considered Western, and the Midwest was in the middle of what was then understood to be the West. And I get all of that, that's fine, but that was then, right? This is 2025. And my thing is, it's currently quite popular apparently to rename certain places in America. Why don't they just do that with the Midwest? Call it, you know, the Great Flat North or something like that, or the Winter Hellscape.
That right there. Oh my goodness. We are expected to have snow and rain tonight. But like in the Midwest, we get the hot summers and the really cold winters. We get the best of both worlds.
What the heck is that? Oh. I found the poop scoop. Some of the things that confuse me about the Midwest are very Chicago specific because that's where I live. I think chief among those is this thing called dibs, which is something that people do here during heavy snowfall like this, and they want to reserve a place for their car in the road.
Okay, so he's from Chicago, which is just a few hours away from me. But I've never heard of
they like shovel up all of the snow and they go, I'll have this spot, and they'll put a chair to reserve that space regardless of whether or not that's in front of where they live. In fact, somebody did that to me once out here. I had to tell them to f off.
That's really funny to me. See, if that was to happen here, somebody would probably pull up and take it thinking it's something sitting on the side of the road for free. That's where I live.
Luckily, I've got a garage, so nobody's taking dibs on that, and we keep our car in there, which is one of the great things actually, because when I lived in Indiana, we didn't have a garage, and so I'd be the one responsible for having to clean off the car. But this dibs thing, it all seems a bit petty. You know, we all have to walk around in the snow. If you have to park down there because that's the only available place for you, do that. Don't take valuable parking space away from us law-abiding citizens. Not to suggest that dibbing is breaking the law, but it feels like it is.
I mean,
one thing,
it does make things a little bit difficult. If you have a garage, definitely park in that garage. Don't park on the side of the road. That just makes everything clustered up and If you don't have to use it, don't use it. Definitely.
That I'll never understand is why are Midwesterners so polite? Actually, let me rephrase that. How are Midwesterners so polite? I mean, they're all like, hey buddy, need a ride? Or, you betcha. And I'm just looking around thinking, how can you be polite in this? This is my 17th winter in the Midwest, and I've become less polite as the years have gone on. I don't know if you've noticed.
Trick or treat!
Look at you. Who are you dressed as?
Clifford, the big red dog.
Oh, that's adorable. So you're dressed as a dog then?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if I give you some of this, it might look like I'm giving chocolate to a dog. Do you see why that would be unethical?
Yeah.
Next year, do Charlie Bucket. Yeah. Bye. This snowfall that you see around you right here, this started in November, and the cold is going to continue until February, by which point I am an absolute sad sack of Whereas to Frank down the street, this is his childhood. My childhood, while occasionally snowy, was never as cold as this, and very rarely as deep as this. So I don't know how Midwesterners are so polite. Is it the church? Does it make you be that way? Is it like with Norwegian people where this is all they've ever known?
Yeah, that's confusing within itself for sure, because I don't know. I've lived my whole life with like really cold winters and like snowy winters, and the older I get, the worse it gets. The more I can't stand it. It just sucks for sure.
And so they've learned to cultivate a resistance to it that borders on psychopathic. But, you know, if you come up to me all cheery in the parking lot of Menards and you expect me to reciprocate, you're going to have to pay me or buy me a cordless power drill. Now, I say that I've lost all politeness, but in hindsight, that's not entirely true, because I've developed a form of Midwestern politeness, which is to say the word ope. So, for example, I've just sat in an absolute plethora of snow, and when I did so, I should have said, ope. I did just realise I didn't clean off the chair.
I say that all of the time, and I don't even realize I say it. And it doesn't come out oops ever. It's ope. Oh. Yep. I'm very familiar with that, but not a lot of people that I know really say that. Actually, I've just always said it. I don't know. I was born like that.
Usually though, this is a phrase that I've just started saying when I accidentally bump into somebody in a corridor, because they say it to me. It's quite contagious, a bit like the flu that I'm going to catch from sitting in this chair. And so I think this is indicative of how the Midwest has changed me, because when it isn't winter, I am polite. I think I've merged British politeness with Midwestern politeness to form one big super politeness. So I occasionally do find myself saying, you betcha! And I don't even live in Minnesota. It just sort of, I don't know, trickles down to Chicago by osmosis. Anyway, I need a tissue. I remember once reading a little fun fact about the Midwest, and it was this. The Midwest has more water towers per square mile than any other region in the United States. But I didn't doubt it for a second, because, you know, just driving around various towns and cities in the Midwest, you don't need a GPS to tell you where you are. You just look out of your window and up at the steel tower, because it has the name of the town on it. And it feels like in the Midwest, some towns have like 3 of them. And I couldn't figure out why that was. Were people in the Midwest just, you know, more inclined to being hydrated and having the water sorted out? That's too much salt. And so finally, years after learning that piece of trivia, I thought now, while making this video, might be the right time to learn why the Midwest is so obsessed with them. So let's go to the computer. Well, from what I can tell, the Midwest has more water towers because the Midwest is very flat. And that apparently makes it harder for water systems to have good water pressure compared with in mountainous areas.
It does not feel like it's very flat here. Like looking at watching videos of the Netherlands and then comparing it to here, it's not flat, but maybe it is.
areas where the water source is already at a high elevation and gravity sort of takes over, I think. So here in Chicago, we draw a lot of our water from Lake Michigan, which is below or level with the area of consumption. So they have to store the water pressure in one of these water towers, and it replicates the pressure that you might find in otherwise more elevated areas. Yeah, I only understood about half of that. I suppose the quick answer is that the Midwest is flat. And finally,
Yeah, those water towers always scared me when I was a kid. I've always thought about, like, if it just like fell apart and all the water came out. I always like pictured that, or like actually like climbing up there and like swimming on the top of it. How creepy would that be? That would be, I don't know why. To me, that is just, it creeps me out.
goodbyes. I will never ever understand how a person from the Midwest can take what should just be a 2-minute salutation, say we're leaving now, my husband's an introvert, let's get in the car and we'll see you next year. But no, because right at the last second somebody has to make a plan for a state fair that's not going to happen for 8 months. That then devolves into politics. Before you know it, it's dark outside and I have fallen asleep in the corner. But the thing is, I think a lot of us non-Midwesterners, if we've made up our mind that we're leaving, it has to be that second. It can't be in an hour from now. Actually, nowadays, I'm so used to my wife's family doing this that I just go straight to the car and turn on the engine and I wait for them there. But one of the problems
That's what I need to start doing. That's what my, it's so cute. Charlie and his family, they enjoy spending time together. So when they leave, it's just like very hard to get him out the door. So it is. I'm totally with them on that.
with fake leaving is that a lot of the time they're so embroiled in their conversation they don't realize you fake leaved. So they're like, oh, he's in the toilet, we can talk for even longer. So there's really no winning with this. You know, when I think about it, it really is just the equivalent of British people not being able to hang up on a phone call, where it goes like this. Okay, it was great speaking to you, love. Yep, I'll call you next week. Yep, goodbye. Yep, bye, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
That is so funny. He is such a funny character. So yeah, that was 6 very confusing things about the American Midwest. If you guys enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like. I really appreciate it, and it really helps the channel grow. So thank you so much. And yeah, if you have anything else to add, let me know down in the comments, and I'll be down there waiting. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later. Bye.